Departure. That spring we were 16, Tanner and I started dating the Amish girls out on the rural highway, sometimes 2 or 3 at the same time, because it wasn't really dating. There was no way of getting serious. This was in 1992, over 10 years ago, and things had not yet begun to change in our part of Pennsylvania. I think of that year as a significant one now, a turning point in our county. The first year the town of Leola started growing and becoming a city, and also the first year the Amish started leaving, selling their property and heading west toward Indiana and Iowa. There had been several cases of runaways among the Amish that year, mostly young men, barely in their 20s, tempted by the shopping malls and bars popping up along the highways near their farms. Leola was expanding quickly then. It was becoming more common, and it worried the elders in the Amish community. And I think it explains why that spring some of the Amish teenagers were given permission to leave their farms for a few hours on Friday nights. Out on the other side of town, there was an intersection on the rural highway where they would go to hang out. It was a remote area. A strip mall with a Kmart sat on one side of the intersection, and across the road there was a 24-hour diner. You would sometimes see them on Friday evenings, traveling in a long line like a funeral procession, their buggies hugging the shoulder of the road as tractor-trailers rubbered by. They would park out of sight behind the Kmart, tie their horses to lampposts or the sides of dumpsters, and then the younger ones would go into the Kmart to play video games, and the older and more adventurous would cross the street to the diner. The diner was a family-style place, frequented only by local farming families and truckers, and it was usually empty. Inside, the Amish kids would immediately disappear into the bathrooms and change into blue jeans and t-shirts that they had bought at Kmart, clothes which never seemed to fit their bodies right. Then they would come out, their black wool clothes stuffed into paper bags, and order large platters of fried food, and play country songs on the jukeboxes, and try to pretend they weren't Amish. That spring, Tanner and I had begun stopping by just to see them. We never bothered them, just watched, and it never occurred to us that there might be something unnatural about what we were doing, or even wrong. We were simply curious. We wanted to know if the rumors we had heard in school were true, that there were spectacular deformities to be found among the Amish, that few of the children possessed the correct number of fingers, the results of extensive inbreeding. We would sit in a booth at the far end of the diner and glance at them from behind our menus. We were amazed to hear them curse and see them smoke cigarettes. Some of them even held hands and kissed. Sometimes other people from town like us, would stop by just to watch, and you could tell that it worried them. People were still scared of the Amish then. They were still a mystery and a threat because of their wealth and the tremendous amount of land that they owned. And so naturally, they were disliked, treated as outsiders and freaks. At 11 o'clock, they changed back into their clothes and very politely pay their checks. Then they'd cross the street in a big group, climb back into their buggies and leave. And Tanner and I would stand out in the diner parking lot and watch them, still not believing what we had seen, but also somehow sad to see them go.